5 years ago this month, one of the most consequential murders in American history happened. The killing of George Floyd by former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The days that followed were some of the hardest in our community's lifetime. The pain, the riots, and the loss were overwhelming. One man was there for all of it, and tonight, for the first time, he's telling his story to Jana.
Yeah, Kent, that's the reason we swapped roles tonight. Derek Chauvin's former boss and the former police chief, Medaria Arradondo, could never really tell his story while he was still running the police department. Now that he's retired and time has passed, he can, and he's got a lot to say.
Please, I can't breathe.
What do you want?
I can't breathe.
He physically resisted officers. We do believe that this is a medical incident.
Is that what happened to George Floyd?
No, we didn't get the accurate information that night.
From the officers?
That's correct.
Tell me how you come to find out that George Floyd didn't just die of a medical incident.
I get probably the most important call that I could have received. Within a minute, she sends me what has now become the video that the world has come to know.
His nose is bleeding, like, come on now.
That's wrong right there.
What do you see?
I'll tell you what I don't see. I don't see humanity.
Did you make a decision when you saw the video?
Absolutely.
So that is May 26, 2020, early in the morning. You fire them and you call it murder.
Yes, it's important for leaders to just be honest and frank and speak truth, even if it means we must stand alone. But my eyes did not deceive me.
There were protests that night downtown. You said you expected that, right?
Yes.
You see black people, white people, you see Asians and Hispanics, because we're tired of it.
I expected the protests to build. What I was also dealing with, Jana, were these other different forces at play.
Union leadership was Lieutenant Bob Kroll. He had sent out a statement to the members of the union, so police officers, after George Floyd's murder, saying we must review all video before rushing to judgment.
That was probably more damning than any statement he could have made.
Did you call him and tell him that this hurts?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
It wasn't a priority for him. It wasn't something that his conscience really wanted him to, I believe, to deal with. He felt, I believe, at that time, that the most important contract was that of the union. I tried to remind him that the most important contract that we take is the contract, that promise with our community. As I'm in my squad car, I'm listening to the radio, I received dispatch saying that the workers in Target, to my right, are barricading themselves because the store is being looted.
By Wednesday night, why don't we have the National Guard?
We had mutual aid, but at that time, we did not, there was no call out for the National Guard at that day. No, at that time. That Thursday evening, I'm parked about a block and a half south, looking directly at the 3rd Precinct. The energy is focused on that building. I remember distinctly that evening when I called Mayor Fry and requested that he make a formal declaration to Governor Walz to bring in the National Guard, and that we had to get those officers out of that precinct.
Oh, there goes the lights. Yeah, they stormed the station.
I got on the radio, and I had dispatch hit a tone alert. There's radio silence. No one gets on the radio at that point. And I said, Car 1, we've lost the 3rd Precinct.
People are climbing inside of the precinct right now.
Were cops angry at you?
Oh, absolutely. They can be angry. But I can only imagine what that anger would have been had we lost lives that night.
So Kent, that's just a little bit of what is in Rondo's book that comes out 6 days from now, so next Tuesday. He talks a lot about what happened in May of 2020. He talks a lot about his 30 years before that. He talks a lot about what happened in the trial of Derek Chauvin and the other officers. He talks a lot about the regrets he has. He talks a lot about how he'd like to apologize to George Floyd's daughter. And we're going to have all of that on Breaking the News Plus at 7 o'clock. It'll stream 30 minutes of a conversation that he has to answer some controversial questions about, did he let the 3rd Precinct fall on purpose? He answers that question and some other things.
It's a whole lot to get into, Jen. I know 30 minutes sounds like a lot, but it's really not when you've got so much ground to cover. Thanks. We look forward to it. We'll be right back.